well-known Yonkers half a millionaire, and my employer and friend, Miss Irene Malloy. Although, if you ask me, he'll never take the place of her late husband, Mr. Peter Malloy. May he rest in peace, wherever he is. I'm not sure. He's a caution, you know. It's all too much with late husbands and new marriages on top of everything else. Miss Mortimer is returning this hat for the third time. Cherries and feathers she wants. Cherries and feathers to get to go, I suppose. Although, if you ask me, she'll do better in a nice heavy veil. I told her ribbons down our back is what we'll be needing to wear this summer if we want to catch Jones up. But she had none of it. Cherries and feathers she wants. Cherries and feathers. And on today of all days, when that poor dear sweet Mrs. Malloy has enough on her mind with what, Minnie? With the door. It's stuck.
It's stuck. Then push.
I was saying, Miss Malloy, I can bite out my tongue for the things I've said and for the things I'm going to say. But as long as I've gone this far, I might as well go all the way. Mrs. Malloy, why?
Say it, Minnie. Why have I decided to marry Horace Vanderbilt?
Mrs. Malloy, I did not ask you that. I'd rather die on a raft than ask you such a personal question. But as long as you did bring it up.
Minnie, I am marrying Horace Vandergelder for one reason and one reason alone. To get away from the millinery business. I hate hats.
Mrs. Malloy.
And I can no longer stand being suspected of being a wicked woman with nothing to show for it.
Mrs. Malloy.
Don't protest, Minnie. All millineresses are suspected of being wicked women. That's why I can't go into restaurants or balls or theaters. That's all the proof they need. Take my word for it, Minnie. Either I marry Horace Vandergelder, or I break out of this place like a fire engine. Oh no, not Miss Mortimer again.
Miss Mortimer, I'll take care of it.
No, Minnie, leave that be. You can make another hat for Miss Mortimer if you like. I'm wearing this one myself.
Mrs. Malloy, you can't. That hat, well, it's provocative, that's what.
Is it, Minnie? Well, who knows who may walk into the shop today? And provocative may be just what I want to be.
Mrs. Malloy!
I'll be wearing ribbons down my back. don't. Peter Malloy, God rest him, was my share of love, and I'm not saying that I was shortchanged. Once is enough for a woman, as long as it's true love, and it was that. Look, Minnie, there's two men staring at the shop.
Men?
Why, I do believe they mean to come in here.
Men? In the shop? Oh, Miss Malloy, what shall we do?
Do? Why, flirt with them, of course. I'll give you the short one.
Mrs. Malloy, and all you with all that talk about love.
Love enough I've had, Minnie. It's a bit of adventure I could do with now. We'll get them all heated up and then drop them cold. It'll be good practice for married life. Now, why don't you go back into the workroom? I know some ways we can perk up our appearances. Besides, a bit of weight will only make them nervous and easier for us to...
If you say vampire, I'll scream.
Vampire! And so I'll try to make it easier to find me in the stillness of July, because a breeze might stir a rainbow behind me that might happen to catch the gentleman's eye. Oh, Minnie, we'll get an adventure out of this yet.
We'll get an adventure out of this yet, Barnaby. All day long, we wander around New York, and nothing happens. Then we go to the quietest place in the city, and suddenly,
Van Gelder.
is he still out there? Go look.
He's sitting around on that bench, Cornelius. Are you sure this is an adventure?
You don't even have to ask, Barnaby. When you're in one, you'll know it all right. How much money have we got left?
Well, let's see. We have 40 cents for the train back, 30 cents for dinner, and 20 cents to see the whale. 90 cents. Why?
Well, when those women come out, we'll have to pretend to be customers. Customers, that's it. Maybe the best thing to do is make them think we're rich. Then we won't have to spend anything. We're two men about town looking for some hats for ladies. Good afternoon, Mrs.
Malloy.
Oh, here, Cornelius Hackle.
Here, Barnaby Tucker.
My pleasure, gentlemen. Now, what can I do for you?
Well, we're hats to see. We wanted to buy a lady or two to Malloy with.
You see, we're two ladies about town looking for some hats to Malloy, but then we wondered, when? And we want a hat. For a lady, of course. And everyone says to go to Mrs. Malloy's because, well, she's so pretty. I mean, her hats are so pretty.
And so reasonable as well. As reasonable as under $1. It'll still leave us enough to see the whale.
You've got to pay him no mind, man. He's come all the way from Yonkers to see the stuffed whale and he's all excited. Barnaby, keep an eye out on the street, and maybe you'll see it pass by.
Is it big and black with mean little red eyes?
Yes.
Well, then it's sitting right on that bench.
Did you say Yonkers, Mr. Hackle?
Oh, yes, ma'am. Yonkers. And forgive me for saying this, but you should see Yonkers. By that, I mean, perhaps Mr. Malloy would like to see Yonkers, too.
Oh, I'm a widow, Mr. Hackle.
You are? Barnaby, she's a widow! Oh, that's too bad. I'm sure Mr. Malloy would have enjoyed Yonkers, especially in that hat. I mean, on you, of course not. Mr. Malloy, may he rest in peace. You're Catholic, aren't you? Well, don't let that worry you. I'd be willing to change.
Mrs. Malloy, if you should ever so happen to have a Sunday free in the near future,
I'd be more than happy to show you Yonkers from top to bottom. Yeah.
Well, as a matter of fact, Mr. Hackle, I might be there sooner than you think.
Really?
You see, I have a friend who lives in Yonkers.
Do you?
Perhaps you know him.
Perhaps we do.
Oh, it's usually silly to ask in cases like that, though, isn't it? It's like Mr. Van de Gelder.
Morse Van de Gelder.
Oh, Van de Gelder's hay feed? Why, yes. Do you know him?
No! Oh, not really. No.
Mr. Van de Gelder's a substantial man and well-liked, they tell me.
A lovely man, Mrs. Malloy, just lovely. Has only one fault as far as I know. He's hard as nails.
Cornelius, I think.
Now, I wonder if your friend might like this one.
Begging your pardon, Mrs. Malloy.
Gentlemen, what are you doing?
We're as innocent as can be, Miss Malloy.
Well, really, Mr. Hacker, Mr. Tucker, I demand that you come out of there this minute, or I will be forced to send for Mr. Van de Gelder.
Miss Malloy, I don't suppose Miss Levi is here, is she? She was supposed to meet me on that bench 10 minutes ago. Well, she can just come looking for me if she wants. When I make an appointment, I like people to be on time. Here's a present for you. Chocolate-covered peanuts on the shelf. That's the expensive kind. Did I just see you talking with two men?
Men? Men, Mr. Van de Gelder? What would men be doing in a lady's hat shop? Now, why don't you come back into my workroom? I'm so anxious for you to see it.
I saw it last week.
So you did. Mr. Van de Gelder, what's new in the hay and feed business? I understand that you have 3 friends, all hard as nails. I mean,
What on earth are you talking about?
Yonkers. I hear it's a very beautiful city.
And who's been telling you about Yonkers, may I ask?
Nobody, a friend.
What friend?
Well, you see, he... A customer, Mr. Van de Gelder. Someone quite well-to-do, as a matter of fact. He was in here buying hats for ladies. You might even know him, although it's usually silly to ask in cases like that. It's a Mr. Cornelius Hackle.
Did you say Hackle?
Why, yes.
He happens to be my head clerk, that's all. Miss Malloy, I demand an explanation.
And I'm gone. Why shouldn't she know Cornelius Hackle? He's here at the Opera, at all of the fashionable homes. He's even at the Harmonia Gardens restaurant 3 times a week.
Impossible. He's only got $100.45 and I keep in my own safe.
Oh, Mr. Van de Gelder, you're killing me. He's one of the Hackles. They built the canal.
What canal?
The Erie. The Erie. Both.
It ain't the same, man.
Who took the horses out of Jenny Lynn's carriage and pulled her through the streets? Cornelius Hackle. And who dressed up as a waiter and went down to the 5th Avenue Hotel and dropped an oyster down Mrs. Astor's... Oh, I can't say it, but it was Cornelius. He's the playboy of New York. Now, Irene, don't deny it. I could see you were taken with him, just like everybody else.
Oh, no, Dolly. I've only met him once in my life. No, really. I've only seen the man once.
Excuse me.
Of course.
You see, I just happened to...
Minnie, hold your tongue.
There's a man in there!
Now look here, if there's a man in that closet,
No, Mr. Van de Gelder, you can't. It's too dangerous.
any man that hides in ladies' closets cannot frighten you, Miss Malloy, Miss Money. Levi, stand aside.
No man indeed, Mr. Van de Gelder. I'm sure you'd make short work of any man. I can see the muscles now under your coat. Ripple, ripple, ripple. Ripple, ripple, ripple.
For the last time, Miss Levi, will you stand aside?
Stand indeed, Mr. Van de Gelder. That's exactly what the court will want to know when you're accused of entering that closet without a search warrant. I mean, what do you stand for if you don't stand for the law of this great land? I know what I stand for. I stand for motherhood, America, and a hot land for orphans. Take off your hat, sir, as your office flag is passing due. You see him on the hill at Gettysburg. Please embrace triumphal arch. If you see him as he's trampling through the graves of wrath, then march, march, march.
Has this not affected you, sir? I came here as an immigrant girl from a land that oppressed my people, and I must echo hear what was said by that great and patriotic American. I stand for motherhood, America, and I'll have much for orphans. Take off your hat, sir, there's a tipsy indigo passing through. You see him on the bridge at Waterloo. Neath every triumphal arch. If you see him as he's trampling through the graves of wrath, then march, march, march. I stand for motherhood, America, and I'll have much for orphans. Take off your hat, sir, there's a tipsy indigo passing through. You see him on the bridge at Waterloo. Neath every triumphal arch. If you see him trampling through the graves of wrath, say that they march, march. 407 years ago. March, march. We form a more perfect union. March, march.
Damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead. There couldn't possibly be a man in that closet. God bless you.
Miss Malloy.
All right, Mr. Van de Gelder. There is a man in that cupboard,
Aha!
and another under that table.
What the devil?
Also happens to be a very simple explanation, but for the present, good afternoon.
Good Lord, the whole room's crawling with men. I take it I'll see you this afternoon, Mr. Van de Gelder.
You certainly will, Miss Levi, with a certain young lady at the end of the parade. Good day, Miss Malloy.
Mrs. Malloy, I can explain everything. You see,
I do
we...
not wish to hear any explanations, Mr. Hackle. Just you and Mr. Tucker do me the pleasure of leaving my shop at once, or I will be forced to send for Officer Gogarty.
If you ask me, Irene, calling an officer is letting them off too easy. The law courts, that's where they belong. I've been adding up the legal offenses these two committed, and trust me, you've got grounds for at least 2 writs, a non-compass mentis, and a garnishing. Now the first thing to do is to show that you tried to settle it amicably first. Have dinner with them.
Dinner?
Is that absolutely necessary, Dolly?
It's the way things are done in the law, Irene. Dinner first, garnish afterwards.
Well, if it must be, Mr. Hackle, you and Mr. Tucker may take Miss Fay and myself to dinner.
Delighted, Mrs. Malloy. I speak for Barnaby, too. Now, I hear there's a very nice restaurant in the railroad station.
Oh no, Mr. Hackle. If the Harmonia Gardens is good enough for you and your fashionable friends, then it's good enough for us. They say they have a lovely orchestra there, Minnie.
Oh, we couldn't go there. It isn't the money or anything. It's the, it's the
whale!
It's the whale! No, it isn't the whale, Barnaby. It's the dancing. You see, they have dancing in a place like that. Contests, exhibitions, and it would take me weeks, years, months to learn. Dolly Levi, 33-year-old chief clerk, taught how to dance.
Now it's very simple. Put one arm here and one arm here.
It's absolutely no use. I have no sense of rhythm.
Absolutely no sense of rhythm is one of the primary requirements for the Gallagher Levi Method. Just give me 5 minutes of your time, Mr. Hathel, and I'll be dancing through the streets. Now, we'll start with lesson 7.